And we are live.
We are live.
Once again. So welcome to today's live hangout. The topic for today is coping in cold climates. So we're talking, and it's not just food, also just like darkness, light, air quality, how to deal with living in a place that's not optimal climate-wise. So essentially living outside the tropics. That's what we're going to talk about today. If you're in the chat, if you're watching us now live, you could say hello in the chat. Diane, I know you already said hello. And you were patient while we were getting ready to start the stream. If you're watching this recorded a month later on YouTube, you know that you can join our next live hangout and be in the chat room just by joining in on patreon.com. There's a link in the description, and you can go there, and then you'll get access to lots of exclusive content, monthly Q&A videos, and live hangouts every month on different topics.
Pretty cool.
Yes. Just having a look at the technical.
We're just opening the chat.
Opening the chat and having a look at some technical things. There's always so much to learn. I have, the live hangouts.
It's endless.
Yeah, it's endless.
Hello, Matt.
Yes, hi Matt. Glad to have you on board.
So yeah, anyway, let's jump into it. Why not?
Yes.
We do have a list of certain items.
We do. We have 3 computers going here. We have a computer that we're on right now, where we have which is filming us, and the phone is connected. This is the microphone, right? From bought basically by you guys on Patreon, so we could have better audio quality. That's awesome. Yeah, we have that computer where the chat is, and then we have another computer where we have all the notes, and then the third computer where we have the live, where we can see ourselves just in case the stream falls out, or we want to make sure we look the best. You know,
like me, I'm very white today.
Yes.
That's because there's, I don't know, something with the lighting.
The lighting makes you look pretty pale.
Yeah. But anyway.
Okay, so let's get straight into it. Of course, you guys can always just say anything in the chat if you feel like it, and if you have some ideas you want to contribute to what we're talking about, or if you have questions or anything like that, you could just post them in the chat room. All right.
Hello, odds.
Odds ratio. Hey man, or woman. Okay. First of all, on what?
No, I was going to say the first object of today is cold temperatures.
Yes, because okay, here we are. The topic is basically how to be okay, how to be healthy, how to survive mentally and physically in climates that are not optimal. So we're just going to go through a list of things that is challenging about being in Norway, for example. You can see us right now. We're sitting here in fleece sweaters, and it's it's pretty cold. It's like 16 degrees Celsius probably, maybe even 15.
We're freezing a little bit, but it's a lot better to stay outside here. I mean, it's so, I don't know.
Beautiful surroundings.
Yeah.
Hey, Aneta. Glad to have you with us. So first of the challenges with living in outside the tropics, of course, is the cold temperatures. So it's cold outside, and that has a lot of implications on our lives, obviously, because first of all, we don't want to freeze to death. That's obvious. We don't want to be cold. Of course, no one really freezes to death because we have clothing and shelter. And that's the point. We have clothing, we have shelter, and we got to utilize those things, obviously, to live in cold climates. But these different solutions to the cold climate also have their own challenges. It's not ideal to wear a lot of clothing. No one likes wearing a lot of clothing, right? When it's like summer again and you take off all the clothing, it's just like,
Yeah, at the worst here in Norway, at least, we use up to 6 kilos of clothing when we're outside, you know, wearing big boots and stuff like that, and it's snowy. And it's terrible. It makes you feel absolutely bogged down and heavy and tired. And it's not something you really want, obviously.
So basically, first the way to deal with cold climate or cold temperature is to put on clothes. And make sure it's good clothing, because it's not just any old clothes. Because to be honest, we could do with some improvement in our wardrobe.
Yeah,
we have a lot of heavy, like, I don't know, like this sweater here is one of my usual sweaters, and it's kind of heavy cotton sweater, and it's not even that warm. You want to use something like, and fleece is actually better for keeping the heat, and also it's lighter. But of course, it's not the best ecologically speaking.
No.
The best ecologically speaking are more natural fibers, but then again, they are heavier. And of course, we don't want to use wool, because we don't like the idea of exploiting sheep and just taking their wool. So
unless of course it's second hand, which I would buy wool,
Yes.
something woolly
second hand,
if it is second hand.
that's true.
Circulating it until it's
There's a certain problem associated with it, which is like what the sort of idea you're giving other people, that it's okay to wear wool.
Right.
But then again, it's Matt says colder weather allows more style options. Nice jackets.
I suppose it does.
That's true.
In Bangkok, there was like a few months ago when we were in Bangkok in Thailand, it was suddenly 17 degrees Celsius or something.
16 even, I think.
Yeah, in Bangkok,
Very
which
cold.
is absolutely crazy. And then all the Thai people finally got opportunity to put on all their cool big sweaters and jackets, which they don't really get to do.
And it has a value. I agree. I do enjoy putting on some clothes sometimes just for fun. I just got a new running vest. I've been buying some new running equipment because I'm going to run a little bit now as autumn comes upon us here in Norway. And I do look forward to wearing that vest, but it has to be colder than it is now before I can put it on. So I'm sort of hoping it's going to get a little bit colder. So that's a good point. It's obvious one focus point. And so take a look at your wardrobe and think about the actual clothes that you have, and make sure that they're appropriate for the climate, and that you don't have to be bogged down with heavy clothing, that sort of thing. The next thing is heating. And a lot of people neglect this. They walk, us included sometimes, walking around in the house without having proper heating.
Yeah.
That makes,
In fact, you should really invest in some quality heating equipment. There are various, I'm sure you're aware of them all.
And some of them are costly, very energy inefficient.
Yeah.
Some of them are more energy efficient. And then there's the actual fireplace, but that has its downsides as well. Which I'm going but okay, we'll get quickly through this. It's very obvious, actually. You deal with cold temperatures by putting on clothes, using the right clothes, making sure you have good heating in your house so you don't lose the heat. And last but not least, there's an item that not many people think about, actually, and that is activity. Staying active. And that doesn't mean being like ridiculous about it and having to move all the time, but just naturally active.
And warm, like I remember in La Palma, it was cold, about 17 degrees Celsius when we woke up, and I remember you always having to sit for like an hour before you ate breakfast and freezing to death, whereas I just had to endure like 10 minutes, and then I started stretching and it went fine.
I tend to be more just like in a chill mode in the morning, like I just want to sit and think or read or be on the computer, whereas Matt is pretty active. So activity, moving around, getting outside even, with clothes on obviously, moving around, being active, running, biking, using your body. Matt says, since being vegan, I went from feeling the warmest to now feeling the coldest all the time. Yes.
That I can totally relate. Both of us. But me especially, I'm so cold when I'm in an area where the temperature is really low. It's pretty terrible. And not only that, but it seems like you and me and our mother, who is also living pretty much like us, it's always like 2 or 3 degrees colder than everyone else. Everyone is walking around.
Not scientifically actually 3 degrees colder, but if it's 3 degrees colder, we're cold, and if it's 3 degrees warmer, our dad is Like our dad
fine.
seems to be fine with 3 degrees less than we are.
Yeah.
But so without getting into that topic in depth, it's worth mentioning that it has to do with certain things like, for example, body fat does play a role in insulating your body. So lower body fat means you're more susceptible to cold, obviously.
Or change of temperature in general.
Change of temperature in general, that's true. And then there's the fact that if you have low muscle mass, that plays a role too. If you have a lot of muscle, but only together with activity though. If you have a lot of muscle and then you're active in the morning, like Maz is, then all those muscles will generate a lot of heat. Whereas if you're low on muscle, it won't necessarily generate as much of the heat effect.
And also the fact of food
Digestion.
in your system, digestion, heavier digestion. I don't know how, you know.
When people have a lot of heavy digestion, well, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I imagine that it's, you know, digesting a lot of proteins, for example, takes certain, I don't know.
It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And starch takes a lot of energy, more energy to digest. Everything takes a lot of energy to digest except for fruit, really. So when you eat fruit, you save yourself a lot of digestive burden, and your body isn't working as hard. If you lost 90 pounds, Matt, then that's definitely part of it, probably. There's also the possibility that if you're still losing weight, you are under eating, obviously. And if you're under eating on calories, that makes you cold as well, which could also affect your circulation and your hormones and all these things. So ideally, you want to eat enough, of course. But if you're in a period of losing weight, you could still undereat a little bit, but don't overdo it.
Diane is saying that she, the first winter as a raw vegan was really cold, but then that you handle the cold better than ever before.
You know what? I think I feel the same a little bit. I'm handling cold better now. Not necessarily handling cold, maybe, but putting strategies in place to deal with it. You learn from it.
Yeah, being more in touch with the body and knowing what to do in certain situations.
But it also makes sense, though, that if you are getting healthier,
circulation,
better circulation. Yeah, probably circulation is probably the biggest thing. So
usually the reason for something being cold is a lack of sunshine.
Yes.
Basically, the sun is going down like it has now for us, and instantly it becomes a lot colder.
Yeah. Or even in the middle of winter, the sun is up, but it's so weak, depending on your latitude. Yeah. So it doesn't heat up as much. This is basic, what is it? Physics, geography, like basically the Earth and the sun and the distance. It makes a difference in terms of temperature. Okay, if you're in Seattle, Matt, I've heard a lot about Seattle. Seattle is hardcore. It's almost at the border of Canada there. Watermelon more cooling than other fruits, so yeah, that's true. I mean, it's more water, less digestive effort again, so less heat, etc. So the lack of sunshine really manifests itself. I've written some. That's why we're looking over there. I've written some notes, and the lack of sunshine manifests itself in mainly 3 elements. Okay, so the first problem with the lack of sunshine is vitamin D. Obviously, that's the first thing people think about. And how to deal with that? Well, first of all, it depends on your latitude. I'm not going to get into that now, but the higher up, like Norway, very high, like latitude is very high, and that means it's more of a problem. The closer you are to the equator, the less of a problem it is. If in Australia, it's the opposite, but it's the same thing with the closer to the equator, the better it is. That's why the tropics is where it's at, right? So you get a vitamin D winter, which means you can't get vitamin D for a long period of the year. Could be as early as September, like here in Norway, starts. You can't get enough vitamin D and lasts up until March, April, that sort of thing. How to deal with that? Well, first of all, you want to maximize the little sun you do get, in case there is possibility of getting vitamin D and at the fringes of the summer and that sort of thing. And that you do that by getting out in the midday sun.
Basically, exposing as much skin as you can to as strong sun as possible, and the strong sun will always be at midday, or somewhere around that.
And as much skin as possible, basically. So if you have to take off your clothes and be naked, ideally. So as much sun as possible during the midday. You want to maximize the benefits of the little sun you do get. And it's not only for vitamin D, it's for other reasons too, which I'll get into soon. So maximize your time in the sun. And then apart from that, there are the periods where there is no vitamin D possibilities. And then that means you have two options. Except for traveling, you have two options. They are basically sunbeds or supplements. Talk about sunbeds. You were talking about it earlier, right?
In fact, in a few days, I will actually go to a sunbed and try to get some vitamin D. First, though, I have to make sure that that the sunbed place actually has sunbeds that will deliver me with what I need to get vitamin D,
which is UVB radiation.
UVB radiation.
Yeah, not UVA. UVB. UVB radiation, it's a wavelength spectrum. They will stimulate vitamin D production in your skin. That's how it works. We haven't seen any studies, though, indicating that you will get enough. There hasn't been any studies, I think, indicating that you are getting enough vitamin D from sunbeds. We haven't experimented with it much in the past, so it's pretty anecdotal. It's not even anecdotal. It's just based on logic thinking. There's UVB radiation in the sunbed, which there are in some sunbeds. There's no reason why you shouldn't get vitamin D.
No.
So I think that makes sense, and I feel like that's a safer alternative than supplements. But if you can't do sunbeds or you don't want to, you basically have to supplement. Like, you cannot go without vitamin D. It's very unhealthy. There's a whole host of problems. One of them, it affects other nutrients too, right? If you don't have vitamin D, you can't take up calcium as well. You get problems with your bone density, mood. All kinds of things go downhill when you don't have vitamin D.
So in a way, vitamin D is possibly the worst part of living in cold climates during winter.
Which is why, we'll get to it soon, the best solution is neither of the two. But okay, for now, sunbeds, supplements, research. Do your research. Look into it. We're not going to tell you what to do. Just look into it yourself. Find the best solution and make sure you are getting your vitamin D. You could test as well. Go to the doctor and do vitamin D tests around Christmas, for example. See how you're doing. If you're deficient, do something about it. All right. Next problem with sunshine, because I said there was 3 problems with the lack of sunshine. The first was vitamin D. The second is hormones. There's hormones that are stimulated by daylight that produce daylight stimulates the production of serotonin, which makes you sort of feel good. It's just a normal it's sort of like an up hormone.
It's pretty obvious.
Daytime.
Everyone feels good when it's sunny.
Yeah. And it also is a precursor to melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. So you'll sleep better when you get some sunshine. So once again, how do you deal with these problems when there's darkness, when it's too dark and it's not enough sunshine and isn't strong enough? You can get sort of imbalances with your hormones. And the way you deal with that is basically, again, to get out during the midday. Make an effort to always spend time outdoors. That is a huge, important point.
And by the way, that means no cool sunglasses, Agneta, because you need to get that sun. You need to get the whole full impression of it.
Yeah, so no sunglasses, unfortunately. That is one of the unfortunate things. Well, it's not unfortunate. I don't really like sunglasses, but wear sunglasses in the summer sometimes, maybe, if it's really, really intense. But in the winter, where you want to get the most of the sunlight, you want to get it into your eyes, because that's what stimulates your glands in your brain that produce these hormones. So make an effort to get outside every day. That's an important point on many reasons. Get outside every day and combine it with activity, breathing fresh air, moving your body.
And it might even hurt. Like, it might be cold and you might be like, almost have to push yourself out of the house a little bit. Then you know it's worth it when you come home, because you're feeling awesome. And
try to time it for midday, Get out during midday so you can actually get the most strength from the sun and look towards the sun. close your eyes or look somewhere. Just make sure you get that sunlight in your face during the day. At least daylight. Daylight is the main thing with hormones, but the more strong it is, the more it stimulates. So important. What else can you do about the hormones? Well, you can do light therapy, which is you buy these special bulbs or this thing which shoots the lights in your face and supposed to produce these hormones or stimulate them just like daylight. Again, I've tried it in the past actually, but not I wasn't strict enough about looking at the results and stuff, so I can't say if it works or not. A lot of people use it for seasonal depression, but it is worth trying out. And that brings us to the last point of problem with lack of sunshine, and that is darkness and depression, which is in itself, darkness is the lack of sunshine. We just talked about all the problems associated with that, but darkness in itself is also kind of challenge. When it's dark outside,
it gets terrible.
Yeah,
sun sets here at around 3:30, 4 in the afternoon, and instantly you feel like going to bed. You're not exactly sleepy or tired, but there's something in your mind that clicks. And I've noticed this also recently on my room. When I go to bed this time of year, my room is dark because the sun has gone down and I'm ready to go to bed. Instantly, when that darkness kind of hits me, I feel like, oh yes, I want to sleep.
Yeah. And it's partly hormonal, of course, because you start producing melatonin. But it's something about just looking out and everything is wrong when it's dark. It's just like, no, it's not time to go out. It's time to go to bed. But it's just 3 p.m., which is weird. Diane said the picture froze a minute ago, and it was Matt said it was just us, but it's back now, right? I think it is back.
Yes.
So what was I saying? Yeah, depression. It's strange. So how do you deal with that? Well, the truth is you can't deal with it, really. No. It is just very, very unfortunate to live in a place that's so dark. But you can work on special, make sure you have good lighting in your house. You can even work on having these special light bulbs around the house.
Yeah, I mean, we have this idea of a perfect winter house where we would actually switch all the downlights or lights in the house to special light bulbs, giving you that spectrum of the sunlight.
We even thought about making a whole wall of like a screen almost that just radiates daylight kind of spectrum light.
So it's like a window.
So it's like a window, right? I think that would be cool. But and then I have a crazy tip here. Watch TV. That's like a strange tip because I don't really watch TV, but I do watch Netflix and stuff sometimes on the computer, or quite often lately, and I watch YouTube videos and that sort of thing, and that's fine. That's enough. But even if you do TV, it could still work. The point is, you got to have something to stimulate you actually, because let's face it, it's unhealthy either way. But either you sit. I understand why Norwegians watch so much TV, especially in the winter, because it's a kind of window to the world where everything else is dark. So,
but I would say controlled.
Moderation, right?
Yeah, for sure. Maybe series, special TV series might be better.
Yeah, because the TV, that's the problem with the TV, is so much crap. So it's better to actually use a computer actually. But the point is, use entertainment, watch movies, and make the most out of the dark period.
Just saying that we might be in an area in Norway that's closer to Tromsø, where there's more darkness, but no, we're actually in very close to Oslo, which is in the south-ish.
Yeah. But it's still in the midwinter, it's just 6 hours of daylight.
Terrible.
But we're not here during that period, actually.
No.
Which
kind of brings us to the last.
Before the last point, I actually have a few more things, which is, you can make sure you have a cozy home. Make most of the dark time. I know that Norway has a lot of these dark times, and Canada maybe, but southern USA and that sort of thing, it's not really that bad. But still, make the most out of that dark period. And another important thing is to go to the gym, actually. But you know what? I'll save that for activity. on to midwinter holiday.
Which is the real solution.
Yeah.
The truth is, the only way to avoid not having enough sun is to go where the sun always shines,
Yes.
or almost always shines.
Yes.
We tend to, for the past 5 years, we've gone away from Norway during from autumn to spring, summer.
Even longer. We've been traveling a lot for the last few years. But...
And the main reason I would say is just because it feels really right to do it when the darkness falls.
And the cold comes and the fruit sucks. I mean, at this point now, September in Norway, we're approaching that period where it starts getting unhealthy to be in Norway. It's literally unhealthy. The lack of sun, the darkness, the cold, which makes it difficult to be outside. You don't feel like riding your bike when it's 10 degrees Celsius and if it's windy as well, because it's just like, it's just so cold. So you can do it. And again, it's about clothing. If you're there and you need to do it, put on that clothing and go out and do it. But it gets unhealthy basically. So you got to cope. But the best way of coping is not coping at all and actually taking a trip somewhere. I always recommend people to take at the very least 1 month, and that month should be January. January is that month where you should, unless you're in the southern hemisphere and it's opposite, obviously, then it would be June. No, it would be July. Take that 1 month and go somewhere tropical where you could charge up on sunlight, eat lots of fruit, top up on vitamin D, and come back and you last the rest of the winter. But that's a very minimum amount. Better amount would be 2 months, or even better 3 months. And that's what we kind of have as our rule. And I think over the next, decade or rest of our lives,
at least going to be 3 months.
I'm pretty sure at least 3 months. January, February, March, basically. So we get away from that darkest, coldest period and just live that tropical life at the very least. But this year and many other years, we've been going earlier. So we're actually leaving in a month or so. We're going to go to La Palma, Canary Islands, and spend time there until Christmas, where we'll come home, and then we'll go back to La Palma or some other tropical place. Maybe we haven't decided yet. But
you're the first to know, by the way.
You're the first to know. Yeah, we haven't told anyone, so it's tough when you have kids with school and a full-time job. I do understand. That's the challenge, right? But I don't know. Maybe you could make 2 weeks. I don't know. It's a priority. It's about a priority, and I know that there's some holiday for kids and adults, right? Maybe you could squeeze in a holiday here or there. Otherwise, you have to settle with being unhealthy. That's basically the truth. You can't actually be healthy way outside the tropics during the winter. It's just not possible. But then again, we make all kinds of sacrifices in life, and we have to make sure it's worth it for us. But yes. Anything else to say? Winter holiday. That's really where it's at. But other than that, you have the coping strategies that we let you know about right now. Aneta says La Palma. Great. Have you been to La Palma, Aneta, before? It's a nice place.
Or any of you, for that matter.
Anyone
the
been?
Canary Islands, basically.
Yeah. Where we can already say that because. Well, no, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say something, but then I thought it's going to come out on YouTube for everyone. And well, now it sounds like I'm keeping secrets from everyone.
You are.
I am. I was just going to talk about some possible future plans, but we'll let it wait a little bit because it's not really sure. All right, moving on. Activity. Being active is super, super important in general, but especially so when the weather is not ideal. Because again, you're spending more time indoors, and when you're spending more time indoors, you're breathing the indoor air, you're getting lethargic, you're getting slow, sluggish. Make sure you get out, just like we said. Get out and do something every single day, and try to make it happen during midday, so you get sunlight as well. Maybe find some activities that are conducive to the climate. Like, for example, if you are in a place where there's snow, embrace skiing, maybe. Just make the most out of it, even though it's not a healthy place to be where it snows. But it is beautiful.
And as someone said earlier, going high up, like in the mountains, there might be stronger sun, even in winter, because there's less atmosphere and there's. So combine it. Go to the mountains during the winter for a ski trip. Maybe
Yeah, that's what Matt said there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually. Go skiing in the mountains.
Depending on where you live, maybe you get some D vitamin.
I don't know. I haven't looked into
France, like going to the Alps.
I don't think so during the midwinter, but I'm not sure. And this thing with the being active also has a thing to do with goals. Have some goals. If you start skiing and you set some goals for yourself to get good at it or something, it becomes a passion. Something that actually makes you inspired, makes you want to keep looking forward to the next day. And I'm going to get out today, even though the weather is so cold and everything. You embrace it. So it's always better to embrace the challenges rather than reject them. And then there's the gym. The gym. Some people hate it. Some people love it. I love it, actually.
I kind of like it, although I'm not inspired about it now, but I know what you're talking about. And it's like feeling of being in warm and active place, because the winter is a kind of low activity mode. It's like everything's slow and silent, and I don't know.
It's nice to have somewhere to go that's not out in the harsh weather.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go on a ski trip today. You can go to the gym, and you can run on a treadmill or bike on the stationary bicycle or lift weights, and the atmosphere there is positive.
Yeah.
Right? No one can deny that. One of the most positive places anywhere is a gym. Everyone's full of goals. Everyone's full of proactivity and doing things, and there's music, and I think the gym is a pretty positive, uplifting place, to be honest. So regardless of what kind of activities you're into, maybe going to the gym is something that could help you get through that period. Moving on. Harsh weather is a difficult thing. Not just cold, but actually snow, rain, wind. And again, the solution, I think, is advanced clothing, synthetic fibers.
Actually, like invest in expensive clothes, because at least I know I'm like that. I can put on the same bad clothes every day and not do anything about it. But really, we should be doing something about it.
Make an effort and go out there and get some quality clothing that's light, durable, breathable. I don't know, like scientific clothing, right? Clothing that's actually does the job it's supposed to do, so that it's going to be easier for you to get outside and to move. Of course, there's an ethical dilemma, right, with the health of the planet and using synthetic fibers and petroleum products and stuff. I do understand that, but I see it kind of like the same with the fruit again. We're in a place where we're not supposed to be. It's not an ideal climate, so we have to make tools that for us to survive, and that's just how it is. I think it's okay. Just like importing fruit isn't really ideal for the planet, kind of. But then again, we're frugivores. We need our fruit, Yeah. Any recommendation for brands? Odds Ratio asks. Not really.
No.
I'm not. I haven't. This is something that we haven't really realized until recently ourselves. We haven't done anything about it. I mean,
we haven't really had much opportunity to do much about it either, because we haven't really been home in Norway during that time that much.
True.
We haven't really had the motivation maybe to go out and find the best.
Yeah. So actually, no, we don't have any brand recommendations. I think anything will do. Just go to a sports shop. Just go to an outdoors shop. Buy what you can find there, or try it and buy it online cheaper.
Check reviews.
Reviews is always good.
Yeah, North Face in USA, and also in Norway, we do have some items here at North Face, and they are really good quality.
Yeah. If anyone else watching here have some ideas, post them down and let us know. It's getting darker, you know this?
It is.
Yeah. What else?
Indoor air.
Yes. But first of all, I just want to say harsh weather. Put on that good clothing, but then you have to have that just do it attitude.
Yeah.
You have to get out. You have to have the just do it attitude, no matter fucking what.
Yeah.
It snows like hell, but you'll have it better if you go out in the snow and just take a walk, even though the weather is extreme. And then when you come back home, it's like, you've got some fresh air, you've got some sunlight, you feel amazing. Or you didn't get sunlight if it was a snowstorm, but you know what I mean? Like, just have that, just do it regardless of everything. That's one of the main things I realized over the last years. When I have to survive in cold climates, I make sure I get out no matter what.
But yeah, indoor air, that's one of the challenges of being inside, obviously, because
one of the worst.
Yeah, actually, because you end up wanting to open all the windows because the air inside becomes terrible, stuffy and heavy. But the moment you open the windows, if it's minus 10 degrees Celsius outside, it gets cold inside in a matter of seconds.
And even if it's just 10 or 15 degrees outside, which is what probably most of the people in the US is going to face, that's still too cold to have your window open all day. So what I suggest is you air it out during midday.
Maybe when you're outside.
Yeah, you combine it with, that's the time of day when it is warmest, usually. And you're also out. Or not only out, but maybe you can't leave your house open if you're not home, maybe. But then you come home, you open everything, and this is the period of the day where you're hottest because you just went for a walk or a run or to the gym or whatever. You come home, you're still hot because you've just been active. This is when you open up all the windows and get that air changed. Negative ion generators help with windows closed. Yes, we have a negative ion generator. And it helps theoretically, yes, it does help. And I think I even noticed a little bit, it does indeed improve the quality of the air, but it doesn't get new oxygen into the air. And
it doesn't take away
CO2, carbon dioxide.
And other gases.
Well, it does clean the air if you have an air clean filter as well, but it doesn't necessarily remove gases and that sort of thing. So again, it's a thing, it's a good idea, have a filter and an ion generator. But the main thing is just to get that fresh air inside. And that's important, again, because to focus also on gases, because some furniture actually off-gas. And paint on the walls, certain paint can off-gas and create very poor indoor air quality.
So obviously don't paint your house in the winter.
No.
It's pretty much a given.
Fire takes oxygen from the room. So if you have a fireplace, it's going to rob the room of oxygen, which is the big challenge.
Same with candles.
Same with candles, yes. And not only that, but candles have a different problem as well, which is they create this very fine smoke, which enters the lungs and goes into the very deepest pockets of lungs. It's worse than cigarette smoking even. So do not burn candles under any circumstances. It is, in my opinion, possibly one of the worst things you can do for your indoor air quality.
Buy electric candles.
Yes.
Like, they just look fancy and they give you a nice feeling, but they don't really burn.
Yeah. One more thing about clothing that I remembered was that keep it warm inside. Use heating. Keep it warm inside so you can minimize clothing when you're inside, so you don't have to walk around with 6 kilos of clothing as well. Some people like to keep it tropical in the house and just walk around in a t-shirt, and that's probably a good idea, but then again, there's the airing out, and it's a challenge. All right, last main point really is the food quality.
Yeah, that can be pretty terrible depending on where you are. In Norway, I would say it's the worst in the world. Possibly.
Maybe not though. We got a lot of import and stuff. There's probably countries where there's not much import,
Maybe. Regardless, it's the same for most people in Europe and North America.
Are you pretty cold now?
I'm fairly chill.
You're just like
but yeah, you end up basically just having bananas, dates for snacking, and that is all.
Yeah. But of course, it's not all necessarily, because there's persimmons. They come into this depending on where you are. But here in Norway, there's persimmons until February almost, or January.
From about November.
Yeah. So the tip is basically bananas. That's the main tip. Just eat a lot of bananas and base your diet around bananas. And if you haven't checked out our ebook about bananas yet, check it out. It's going to be a link in the description. Or if you haven't, if it's live now, I guess you could just go and check out our website, sweetnaturalliving.com, where we have a book about bananas. I don't mean to plug it all the time, but then again, I do mean to plug it. So it's a good book, I think. Base your diet around bananas because they're reliable, they're affordable, they're available, they're on a fruit-based diet. So,
but then you did say persimmons.
Persimmons.
And persimmons are actually strangely kind of like it's a seasonal treat.
Yeah.
And it is really consistent. I mean, it's other than bananas, it's actually one of the most consistently sweet fruits I've had.
Yeah.
I can buy them here and have a huge meal of them for breakfast, and it'll keep me going for a long time.
Yeah. So basically, it depends a lot on your location, this tip. So we can't really tell you more about specific fruits, but eat a lot of bananas and then go look for whatever is in season, whatever you can find that's fresh, that's sweet, that's good, and buy that. Eat as much fruit as you can. And then when you can't find enough fruit, if you're willing to eat cooked food, you can eat roots and tubers. That's what our best advice. Pumpkins, roots and tubers like potatoes, sweet potatoes, that sort of thing. Steam them, eat them as is.
Nothing else.
Nothing
no
else.
Sauce, no nothing. Just plain.
Straight up steamed roots and tubers. So that's a compromise, but it is something that works fairly well still. And for me, there's no choice for me. I will not eat bananas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I will not eat dates for dinner. And if there's nothing else literally to eat, I will not eat sour grapes or something like that. So then in that situation, I actually choose to eat cooked, and it's actually perfectly fine. It's no big deal. It's just not as amazing as it is with all fruit, but it works. So you find your own compromises, look for the best fruit, and then do what you got to do, basically.
Matt says a good point. Is there any fruit trick you recommend freezing? And yeah, I mean, any fruit you can freeze during the season and then defrost when you need them during winter. It's going to give you a nutritional boost, I suppose. But of course, there are issues with frozen fruit. Honestly,
it's just a little bit nasty, I find sometimes.
Yeah, you have to like put it in a smoothie or something, and I suppose that works. But
mangoes, a lot of people freeze mangoes.
Yeah.
But then you have to think so much ahead, then you have to have a big freezer. But yes, I guess freezing is definitely a strategy. I think if I was gonna live all year round in Norway, I would probably do it.
Yeah.
But luckily, I can look forward to some of the best mangoes in the world in about 6-7 weeks from now.
Oh, yeah.
In La Palma. So yes, so that's what I like to do. Just travel, but do the best you can. And you know what? Importing fruit, it happens all over the world, right? So chances are, even in the US or somewhere else, that it's possible. Maybe you'll be able to get good fruit year round. New York, Diane, I'm sure you were able to find fairly good stuff in Chinatown and that sort of thing. And you're also closer to Costa Rica and that sort of thing. So it's shorter transport. It's a little bit harder in Europe, I think. But you go out there, you look for the fruit, you find it, you eat it. That's how we do it. And then if you can't find it, or if you're not happy about it, you compromise a little bit. You eat some cooked roots and tubers, and you'll still be fine. And then I just want to also mention that need for warm food. A lot of people say, I need warm food in the winter. And that means you're not heating your house correctly, and you're not wearing the right clothes, and you're not active.
It shouldn't really be a factor.
No. If your house is heated to a tropical temperature like it should be, and if you're an active person with a healthy body, you shouldn't really need anything to heat you up other than your surroundings. But it is a psychological thing, of course.
Of course. I mean, it is something nice. We've all grown up with it. It's winter outside, and the family is sitting down around the table eating soup or whatever. It's a cultural thing.
Yeah, it is. Persimmons, one of my favorites when squishy, says odds ratio.
Gotta be squishy.
Squishy stuff. Diane, I lost you for about 20 minutes? Oh, you mean 20 seconds, right? Seriously?
Well, that has to be something weird because we're seeing our own stream and it seems to be on all the time. That really sucks.
Oh, that sucks.
But yeah, it'll be. You can rewatch it after we're finished. Actually,
Yeah, you can. And yeah, I don't know if you have any insights about why that was or what happened on your computer. You could send us an email about it or something, maybe, because we want to improve these Hangouts as much as possible. And maybe there was some kind of technical glitch from our side, but I think most people saw 20 minutes. But I just want you to know in case I didn't respond.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for letting us know. I think everyone else has been seeing us all the while, right? Because they've been going back and forth with the comments.
Yeah. Maybe next time that happens, try a different web browser. Like if you're using Chrome, you might be using Firefox or Internet Explorer, Edge, or whatever.
Yeah, or maybe open up different ones. I had to re-log in after it froze, and I didn't realize that.
Too bad. Okay,
well, yeah, that's too bad. But you can watch it played back soon, and we'll do plenty of more of these. And this video was actually this Hangout, I guess, was really us just pouring out a lot of information.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of experience with this particular topic, so it'll be good anyway to watch this back. I'm sure it's not. Yeah, it's not a big deal. All right. Matt says it's been just a few pauses for a second or something. Yeah. Okay, I think that's good for today.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
I'm starting to freeze.
It is getting cold, which is appropriate for our video.
It's probably just like 14 degrees.
Yeah, probably Celsius. But yeah, wrapping up. Being healthy outside the tropics is not possible during winter. It's as simple as that.
But you can make intelligent choices,
yes,
which can improve your situation a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, the best is get your ass to a place where it's nice.
Yeah, basically. And when you can't, or if you can't, or for the periods on the fringe, you do your best to stay active. You embrace the challenge. You make the most out of your time in the sun. You face the sun. You get as much sunshine on your skin as possible, in your eyes. You open up the blinds, the windows. You get air inside. You get sunshine inside. Mm-hmm. And you focus on all the other elements of health as well to stay healthy so you can deal with it better. Yeah. Next hangout from La Palma? No, I think actually, well, maybe. We're not sure. It might be right before we're leaving or might be right after. We still haven't booked tickets, actually, so we'll see. We're slow to book tickets. Well, we like to be spontaneous, so we didn't decide until for a few weeks ago, actually. Days. So maybe not. Or if it's not next one, it will be the next one after that for sure. We'll be in La Palma. And we'll be sure to post something on Patreon before, from La Palma, as soon as we get there anyway. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a cool one.
That was a cool
Hope you did get some good information.
Yes. Feel free to ask questions in the comments, or if you do have any questions about, or if you have any tips even on how to, live in a cold climate, feel free to post them in the comments on Patreon or YouTube or whatever. And yeah, always good to have you on board as well, Diane. I appreciate all the feedback in the comments and on Patreon. I enjoy exchanging energy with other people. Of course, we all do. Just that sunglasses. Yeah. So I'm sorry, Annette, those sunglasses. Yeah. Save it for the summer when the sun is super duper strong. Or maybe you can have sunglasses on your head and don't put them on your eyes. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed.
Yes. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed. I don't know how to stop it.
No. All right. Thank you and goodbye.